welcome to another episode of Just Born Movies. As always, I'm Manny Classic, and with me is my mother.
Hi.
Mom, what did we go see?
Well, actually, we went to go see Book Club.
Who has any interest? Ladies, I am not going to let us become those people who stop living before they stop living. I would like to introduce you to Christian Grey.
This is for mature audiences. Certainly sounds like us. Oh, wow.
Slim?
My, oh my.
What's it been, 40 years?
That's impossible. That would mean I was only 6.
Remember your last date? We're talking Nixon era.
Pretty sure he knows you're in here.
I don't care what society says about women our age.
You are better at this than you think you are.
The choice should be ours.
Shut up and kiss me.
I was really excited to be able to go see this because I thought, hey, the previews look really funny. It's got pretty much an all-star cast, a lot of great people in it, and I thought, what a better way to top off my vacation than to go to the movies with my son. So, yeah.
She's just lying for public, but that's fine anyway.
You know what? Don't believe him. Not true.
So I guess expectations were high for this movie. Would kind of, you said you enjoyed the previews and stuff like that, but there's a lot of movies that have previews that maybe are good but don't set expectations high. Were your expectations high going into this film?
They actually were. I really was expecting it to be a lot funnier than it was. And I'm just going to be honest. Didn't live up to the hype.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll get there momentarily. Short kind of synopsis. Book Club is about 4 friends who have had a book club since they were in college together, and they're now in the twilight years of their life, and they decide to start reading the 50 Shades trilogy, which opens up, reawakens their sexual desires and things like that, and you get these 4 branching paths to how they kind of interpret this book into their new relationships or their pre-existing relationships. Alright, so let's start with the cast. You said it was an all-star cast, which is kind of true, yeah. You got Diane Lane, who is the focus, I guess, of this movie. She's the main character. Everyone else kind of flows around her. So
Pretty much.
She is playing a woman named Diane because apparently if you're Diane Keaton, you don't have to worry about changing your name when it comes to acting. Jane Fonda, who is she is the Blanche Devereaux of this piece. Her name is Vivian.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought she played it fabulously.
Yeah, something about not having a motor in the back of her Honda. Who knew? Candice Bergen, who plays Sharon. She's kind of a uptight federal judge. Most people remember her from Murphy Brown. And then Mary Steenburgen, who played Carol. Then around them, each of them has kind of a male counterpart for the most part. Andy Garcia plays a character named Mitchell, who's a pilot. Then Craig T. Nelson, who most people will remember from the TV show Coach, plays Bruce, who is Mary Steenburgen's character's husband. You have Don Johnson, who plays a radio DJ / radio station executive named Arthur. Then Richard Dreyfuss, I guess, would be the equivalent for Candice Bergen, and he played a character named George. Then Diane Keaton's character also has 2 daughters played by Alicia Silverstone and somebody else, Katie Aselton. So, yeah. Alright, so with all that cast and so many kind of divergent plot points and kind of subplots, what worked for you, what didn't?
Well, I will say that you mentioned Diane is kind of one of the main characters, and her love interest, Andy Garcia. I thought they were ill-matched. you could clearly see the age difference there, and it just looked very awkward. Like I just could not kind of wrap my brain around them being together. It just didn't even look right. There were scenes where, someone seeing them out together, might have said, ooh, is that his mom maybe? Now mind you, nothing against, older woman, younger guy, hey, we've heard the term cougar before, right? But it just didn't seem right. I think that I probably could have bought it a little bit more if actually it was Don Johnson and her.
Okay.
I would have liked to see them switch the roles to where Andy Garcia was the love interest of
Jane Foster and Vivian.
Yeah, absolutely. I could so see that as a better pairing, and of course, Diane Keaton is famous for her Annie Hall look. I'm a little bored with that. I wish that they would actually, have, something different for her. Because in every movie, it seems that her character is very similar in wardrobe, and it's just getting a little old. But I will say that I thought it was great how it showed that, even women, as you mentioned, in their twilight years, can still be vibrant, can still have love lives, can still, be women. So I thought that was cool, and I really liked the fact that it kind of had all four of them, and it showed you like how they got to where they were, but that they were still such great friends, because that is such a rare thing to have, because, quite honestly, sometimes it's really hard to find girlfriends that you can stay friends with for all those years and still remain loyal to, because, sometimes it's a little difficult, being a woman and staying friends with people.
Yeah, it's especially kind of played up in the movie because all of them have wildly different career paths.
Yeah.
Vivian becomes a hotel magnate. Diane Keaton, you have to kind of assume she was a stay-at-home mom. It's never really explained if she had a job, because most of her story arc is focused on kind of coming back from the fact that her husband had died a year ago, and she's just kind of around the house. Candice Bergen, like I said earlier, is a federal court judge, and Mary Steenburgen is a executive chef at a restaurant, and she works with No Kids Hunger, which is a real charity. For those of you who go out and go watch this, it's a beautiful charity. Do yourself a favor and go ahead and donate to them. But yeah, for them to have such wildly differing career paths and being able to stay together for, you have to assume their characters are at least in their 60s or 70s, especially if you're basing it on their real age. It's to be together for 50 or 60 years just as friends. It's not like they're married to each other and they have to have this commitment to each other. They choose to have this commitment to each other. So.
Right. Yeah, I thought it was a good movie. It wasn't something that I wouldn't recommend, but I expected there to be a lot funnier parts. I mean, the ones that were funny were pretty much within the previews, to be quite honest. Like, I didn't really feel that there was anything, that was, extremely funny, except for that whole part where she puts Viagra in his beer. I thought that was kind of funny.
Which is in the previews, so not spoiling anything there.
Yeah.
Thanks, computer. Okay, so outside of those characters and kind of their relationship, you get a couple side characters that affect the story but aren't necessarily a main part of the story. You get Ed Begley Jr. playing Candice Bergen's ex-husband named Tom, who left her almost 2 decades ago for a younger woman who, I don't know how that worked out, because this younger woman looks like she might have been 18, so he might have just taken her straight out of the hospital. I don't know. She also has a son named Scott, who is getting engaged to his fiancée at the same time. Sean Wallace plays a doctor that Candice Bergen goes on a date with once because she signed up for Bumble, which is a online dating site almost the same as Tinder or Grindr. Don't know if anyone knows what those are, but those are things. So yeah, overall the cast is incredibly successful on their own accord. Tends to be a lot of movies almost like this, rom-com, type movies tend to have these hugely all-star casts and try to put them in scenarios separately from each other with maybe one or two central characters. I want to say it was short, yeah, it was an hour 44, so relatively short. Directed by Peter Holdman. This is his first directing credit for as many other things as he's done. So he's produced Old Man and the Gun, What They Had, Out of the Many One, which is a great documentary in case you haven't seen it, Lions for Lambs. He produced that, but this is actually his first directing credit. He should go back to producing. So you mentioned Dan Keaton and her Annie Hall look. Annie Hall debuts in 1977, so she's been rocking that same look for 41 years now.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, she looks so much the same that at one point they just tell her to stop looking like that because she's too comfortable.
That's true. I think it's pretty much the same. I wonder if she's like that in real life. You know what I mean? I mean, I kind of think she is. I mean, just, you know, I wouldn't think that she would change too much of how she is in real life for these movies, because it seems that if she continues to, you know, wear the same type of wardrobe in every movie, you know, I mean, you would think that, you know, she'd want to do something different, but hey, to each his own.
Cinematography-wise, how do you think the movie looked?
I think they did a really nice job. I mean, you know, they were out and about dating and trying to kind of reconnect with their, you know, sexuality. And so I like the fact that, you know, you had those shots where they were like out at night and they were on dates, where they were at their book club, and like the places that they would meet, each of their homes was very light and airy. And so I kind of think that it was very realistic. I love the scenes where, you know, she's flying back and forth, you know, and it actually did really well. The lighting was really good. I think, you know, the visuals were spot on. I did notice though that there were a lot of close-ups on them. Like seriously, a lot of close-ups. And I think that speaks volumes to these women, because let's face it, you know, as we women get older, we become very self-conscious of how we look. And so, you know, there are always that famous scene from I'm Ready for My Close-Up Now, right? These women were up close and personal. I mean, you know, even with all the makeup and everything, you can tell that they're aging. And you can also tell that they were very comfortable in their own skin. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, the scene where they're flying in the small little 1951 Cessna that Andy Garcia's character builds, I think might be the best shot in the film. So they're kind of traversing this kind of canyon. It looked gorgeous. The contrast between what is essentially red clay mountains and then this lightly sparsed out forest underneath with a river running through, I thought was gorgeous. And kudos to whoever is doing their cinematography, their film design and film editing there, because their location was brilliant. And
yeah, when I saw that scene, I thought to myself, ooh, I want to go there.
Yeah.
Because it was so beautiful, and I could only imagine seeing it like live as opposed to, you know, on a big screen. So yeah, I thought that was fabulous. Thank you for reminding me. I totally forgot about that.
With that being said, we saw this film in a standard theater, so if it is where you are available on IMAX, you might want to check that out, because I'm sure it looks even better on that IMAX screen, even though it wasn't necessarily shot for IMAX.
True.
Sound. What do you think about the sound design, the music? There were a couple needle drops in there.
I'm not gonna lie, I really didn't pay too much attention to that. I think I was really more focused on the storyline and the plots and all the twists and turns of like where they were going with the storyline, to really focus on the music, to be quite honest. Like, the music didn't pull me in. I mean, clearly, you know, didn't make an impact for me.
See, that's where I am. It had a couple needle drops, especially when they're out and about places. The only real key piece of music you get throughout the entire movie is kind of towards the end, where you get Meatloaf's "I Would Do Anything for Love."
Yes.
and the significance is that pretty much Mary Steenburgen and Craig T. Nelson's entire plotline gets you to this point. I'm not going to spoil what that point is, but yeah, that's about the only song I can honestly think that I directly remember from this film.
True.
There was, like I said, there's music playing because they're in a lot of places. So while they're in the restaurant, there's some light classical, which is probably something original that was done for the film. You get a couple other, while they're rehearsing, dance numbers, and there's a couple during, I think there's like 2 montages in this film. You get some background music to that, which kind of just is going over what they're doing, and what they're doing is typically more important. But yeah, not a lot of hey, this song sticks in my head for this movie.
Right.
Alright, so I guess we'll go to our final kind of scores here.
I'm going to say it was damn average. Yeah. I'm going to say it was damn average. Like I said, it was a good movie. But I've got to be honest. Had I kind of known, probably would have waited till it kind of came out on Netflix or DVD or something. Yeah. Yeah. But it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Definitely, something to watch, on a day where you're just like, oh, okay, something light and, a little interesting, but nothing to say, oh my goodness, run out and see this movie. That's how I kind of felt about it.
So I'm also going to go damn average. If I give it a letter grade, it'd probably be like a B-. It's a fine film. It's very charming. But it almost, to me, gets to the point of it being a Lifetime movie. It treads that line very closely where it starts to get really sentimental just for the sake of sentimentality on itself. And I understand that part of what this movie is this emotional connection between these women and things like that, but sometimes it just kind of falls in on itself awkwardly without an actual emotional payoff in certain moments. You just get drama at some points just for the sake of, we need to put drama into this piece to get a conclusion or resolution later on. I don't think it's poorly acted. I think everyone did a fine job acting.
Yes.
I think more likely they were hampered by the script, because everyone in this film are fine actors. Let us know what you think down in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. If you want, you can hit the little bell icon to get notifications directly to you when we drop new videos. If you feel like being generous and trying to help us out, you can follow us at patreon.com/drinkingagemovies. Donate money to the channel. We'll upgrade equipment, and we're putting out original content that's currently in pre-production. So yeah, thanks. And as always, whatever my catchphrase is.